doesn't. It's terrible. And it's like, yeah, up there it gets really freaking cold. Like up in the north, it's like the moon or something. It's like minus 110, or something. But like down
Oh
in the
my
south,
God.
it's not, because I guess it's like right on the.
Of course. I'm Adam, by the way, and this is about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about the new record.
Okay, great. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Awesome. I did read. Are you originally you're from where, Alaska? Is that
Yep.
what I read?
Yep. I'm from Alaska originally, Alaska and Hawaii a little bit. Like I was going back and forth between Alaska and Hawaii when I was growing up.
Really? The two like U.S. cities that are U.S. states that aren't connected, huh?
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, I don't know why we were. I guess it's just like, I guess there's kind of a lot of Alaskans in Hawaii just because the winters are so like
brutal.
Yeah. And they're kind of beautiful at the same time, but definitely like come January, February, like Alaska or Hawaii looks pretty appealing,
Sure. Wow. Okay. So you're born in Alaska. When is it like, because I know it's dark, like for 24-hour periods at some points and then light, right? When does that happen? I guess I'm just not good with that.
No, that's yeah. Well, so I'm from like kind of the south of Alaska, so it doesn't get all the way dark. Like in the north, the sun goes down and doesn't come back up for like I think like 2 or 3 months or something like that. And
That's
then in the
crazy.
summer, the sun just does like circles in the sky, just like which is so crazy. But where I'm from, it does kind of do that. Like it gets during the winter, it's really, really dark. Like maybe the sun comes up around like maybe around noon and then goes down. Man, I don't know, maybe around like 2 o'clock or something.
Oh, really?
Like,
So it's like only light for a couple hours?
yeah, and then it never really gets light. It just almost just gets like dusk and then not dusk. Yeah,
Wow.
back to night. Yeah.
And then is it light all the time in the summertime?
Yeah, summer does the same. Like it's always light, and then like it will get like sunsetty, and then the sun will just come right back up.
Wow. That's so wild. How do you like adapt to that? I mean, I guess if it's all you know, then you just deal.
Yeah. Yeah, because you just deal with it. It's weird, definitely weird. Like you definitely deal with like light deprivation and like stuff in the winter, and then in the summer you just have like crazy energy. Like summer you live like I don't know, like you really like just
You like hibernate essentially.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, I was a snowboard. Like I grew up snowboarding, so I pretty much like the winter better. But but a lot of people hybrid. A lot of people like are like not into it at all.
Yeah, I read it. You're a pro snowboarder.
Yeah, I used to be a pro snowboarder for a while.
Okay. When did you start snowboarding?
When I was 8 years old, like when so I would always spend the winters in Hawaii up until I was like 9, I think, and then as soon as I started spending winters there, I just started snowboarding. And yeah.
Okay.
Eventually.
Did you have family in Hawaii? Like, how'd you get back? Like, why would you guys travel that way?
Man, I don't know. I don't know why my parents would do that. We didn't have family or anything. I think it was
They just
strictly
were sick of the cold.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was it. That was the only reason.
Okay. Well, what like the winter there to be 8 and snowboarding in the winter? What's the winter temperature there? It's got to be freezing cold.
It gets cold for sure. It definitely gets cold. But it's actually like it's like more clement than you'd imagine sometimes. I mean, definitely sometimes it's freezing. But like we live in Montreal now, and like Montreal is like way worse somehow. I don't know.
Really? Yeah, I know. Like it gets like negative like a million there.
It doesn't. It's terrible. And it's like, yeah, up there it gets really freaking cold. Like up in the north, it's like the moon or something. It's like minus 110, or something. But like down in the south,
God.
it's not, because I guess it's like right on the like Anchorage is right on the. Well, I'm originally from like this little fishing village called the Nilchik, but it's right on the water, so like the water regulates the temperature a little bit better than, I guess, than when you're not on the water.
Okay.
So and,
Are you on like the ocean?
yeah, you're right on the ocean.
Wow. What's the ocean like up there? Is there waves, or is it freezing in the water?
Crabs, like king crabs, and
is it really?
icebergs, and it's beautiful though.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really like there's like the second biggest tides in the world right outside of Anchorage in this place called the Cook Inlet, where James Cook like came and like sunk in the mud and And
Whoa.
yeah,
So
but yeah.
when you started snowboarding at 8 and like obviously you get very good and you pro, and was that a big part? That must have been a big part of your life for a while.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like pretty much my entire life from like when I started snowboarding to like maybe like 5 years ago, I was like, and it's still a huge part of my identity, but that was really like my main focus. Like I got really obsessed with it like right away and just wanted to be like a professional snowboarder. And just I would go every day of the winter and stuff. And
Hmm. And how did you like? Were you like? Was that something like when you say you're pro? Did you get like sponsored, and then like you were getting like paid to do it, and you were like what? Doing contests and stuff?
yeah, yeah, like some contests, but mostly just sponsors and like and traveling around and like photo shoots
That's
and
cool.
filming for mostly filming for videos. That's like the main thing that like I did, I guess.
Yeah. I grew up in San Diego and skateboarding was huge. And I knew a lot of people that were pro and sponsored for skateboarding. So I was thinking it had to be similar to that, right?
Totally, yeah, same deal, pretty much.
Wow, that's so cool though. You'd shoot like what you were in like the videos and stuff for whatever company you were sponsored for by at the time.
Yeah, and it's weird in snowboarding. It was like more like individual production companies. Like I started out because my friend from Seattle, he had like a fairly like well-known production or like a snowboard video production company, and like I filmed for his video, and then I filmed for this other one called Videograss, and but yeah, it was just mostly in skateboarding. It's always companies and like team videos, and
Right. It's
snowboarding's
different.
more like that now. But in what back then it was more like just production companies. But
Is it because nobody could like film? Like, I mean, I would like, cause skateboarding, you can just have your friend kind of follow you with a fisheye and push the skateboard behind you. And when it comes to snowboarding, you're going down these gnarly hills and like the jumps and everything else that's happening is just so much more intense than on a skateboard. Is that the reason? Just people couldn't handle, trying to follow somebody and film them?
yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think like it's I think in at least in Alaska's case, it was a really like it was almost the skateboarders just snowboarded because winter was so long and there was no
Oh,
real indoor
okay.
skate park. So it was kind of like all like my friend who I first started filming with, he made like skateboard videos and then he made skateboard slash snowboard videos, like with where they'd be like mixed, and then he made
Okay.
just snowboard videos. So it's kind of like in Alaska, it was really kind of mixed. Like the two skateboard snowboard community was really like one and the same.
Okay. Okay. I know also with skateboarding, and I'm gonna see if it's the same for snowboarding. Is it's like it's obviously a lifestyle, and with the lifestyle comes music as well, right? I mean, like a lot of bands I got into were because of skate videos I liked, or at first time I hear songs like that. Was your music like introduction pretty similar to that, or like how did you get into music?
Yeah, definitely. Like, cause it's so true. Like the snowboard, skateboard movies you watch, like they all have like soundtracks with a bunch
Yeah,
of
like
pop
rad
music on it.
soundtracks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's how I literally that's the only music besides like my dad's like records and stuff. Like, and what was on the radio, like that was like where I found all like the cool stuff I would listen to. Like I don't know, like the Pixies or like
Hmm.
cool rap stuff. And yeah, it's truly everyone's like every skate video is like a little mixtape too, I guess. So.
Yeah, it really is. And like, was that something you look forward to? Like when you shot a video part, were you able to choose what song you're gonna use in the part?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. You were like super excited to like try to like find the perfect song for your footage and stuff. And a lot of
Yeah.
time, like the person that was making the video would kind of like find something for you, and you'd like and just make sure you liked it. But that was always exciting for sure.
Do you remember what songs that like were your favorite? Be like, oh, like it was. I got to choose the song. It was so dope.
Let's see. Well, I think like the what I'm most like that like probably my most like known video part I ever had was like two Ween songs. Like
Oh,
it was like
cool.
like the fucked jam and sorry, I don't know if I can cuss out here.
You
But,
can cuss. Yeah.
okay. And hey there fancy pants.
Okay.
Which like afterwards everybody called me fancy pants for like 10 years, you know? Because I
Oh,
was
because the video part.
and I was also wearing like really fancy, like kind of striped like David Bowie pants.
Oh, that's rad. I'm sure your snowboarding videos still have to be up online somewhere, right?
Oh
Like
yeah, they're up
YouTube?
there. They're somewhere. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm gonna look them up after this. I did read that you're a pro snowboarder, but I wanted to focus more on my research in your music department. But I'm curious just because that's so rad that you kind of had that. But like with music though, I mean, obviously it sounds like you have to be like fully invested in snowboarding, especially if you're pro and that's kind of what you're doing. So how do you get into music and playing instruments and where does that start?
Um, so I guess I started playing the guitar like on my mom's guitar when I was like 16 or something like that. Like, and there was like a guitar class in high school like that they offered. So that's like when I started doing it. But I guess I would just always kind of, because like there's a lot of downtime too when you're snowboarding. It's kind of like you snowboard during the day mostly, sometimes at night too, but like a lot of time you're just sitting around in hotel rooms and like wherever you are, Minneapolis or whatever, and just
Right, right.
so you got tons of time, and also you have the whole summer off. So I would just kind of like pretty much I started taking it really seriously like probably more like when I was like 19 or 20, like, and that's when I tried to start writing songs, and it took me like so freaking long to get any good at it. Like I mean, it was I don't know, it was I guess it was just as hard as trying to become a good snowboarder, like trying to become a songwriter and come up with anything that you're proud of or you like. But I was kind
Sure.
of doing it all. I was kind of from when I became like a pro snowboarder, I was always playing music at the same time.
Okay. Okay. How old were you when you became pro at snowboarding?
I think I was 19. At least when I
Wow.
first got my first sponsor, like when I first started getting paid, which was like $250 a month or something. But I was like,
But
yeah,
still,
yeah,
$250 that you didn't have before.
exactly. That $250 went a long way back then too.
Well, like, I mean, you mentioned like having summers off from snowboarding. Was it something that the company that you rode for would make you go to the other side of the world to snowboard when it was still considered winter?
No, I think some people do that more now and stuff, but for some reason, like I don't know, and I don't know why they didn't really want you to do that or whatever. I don't know. In the summer, I just was pretty much like free to. I would pretty much just skate and play music all summer for my
Okay.
snowboard career. That's pretty much all I was doing.
Nice, nice. And you said what, 19 you started. Oh, real quick, your mom had a guitar. That's where you picked up the guitar? Does
Yeah,
she obviously plays?
she did a little bit. I think like back in like like the 80s or something, or like the 70s or something when she was growing up in the village. So I think she would play like I don't know what she would do. I've never. I mean, I've seen her like play a couple chords, but she never really was playing when we were kids or anything. I just kind of would see pictures of her like in the 70s, like like playing guitar like on some fence or something. But
Okay.
yeah,
And she grew up in the same town that you were born and raised in?
yeah, she grew up on she has like a really interesting life. She like grew up on like a homestead, like in like, like rural Alaska, like where I was kind of born in the inner village, like it's called the Nilchik, and like her dad was just like a mechanic, and they were just kind of there was like when he first came in, there was like no roads, and they just staked it out like old gold miner style, and
Oh, wow.
so she had all these brothers, and it was like, so yeah, it's still there. My uncles still live on it and stuff, and it's just like I don't know how big it is, like hundreds of acres of just like this big old homestead. He's got like my
That's
uncle's got like
crazy.
a dog sled team and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's rad.
Mm,
When did you move to you're in Quebec now?
yeah, now I'm in Quebec,
When
in
did you move
Montreal.
there? In Montreal.
Uh,
Yeah, okay. When did you move there?
I moved here probably like full time, maybe 5 years ago, and I haven't been
Okay.
living in Montreal that whole time. I'm kind of like bouncing around between Quebec City and Montreal and the countryside, but
But in Canada for 5 years?
yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Okay. And when did you stop? Are you still snowboarding now or no?
No, I don't really go anywhere. I mean, I would if I lived out west, but out east, it's like, I mean,
There's
no
nothing.
offense to the East Coast snowboarders, but it's just hard. It's just brutal out here. It's like icy and cold and no mountains. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
When did you decide to give up snowboarding to pursue? I mean, was it like you stopped snowboarding and then you're like, okay, like what's the timeline wise with stop snowboarding, moving to Canada, and then kind of going on this music journey?
Yeah, I think let's see. It's like I pretty much stopped snowboarding maybe like 6 years ago or something like that. and I was kind of just like pretty I was just like definitely confused for a while and like unemployed. I guess I pretty much like I think the snowboard industry wasn't doing too good. I like kind of lost my sponsors and I was also definitely getting like a little bit more interested in music than I was in snowboarding too at that point because I think I've been like pretty much, let's see. I mean, I've been taking songwriting seriously for like a good like 10 years by the time I stopped snowboarding,
Okay.
and I was getting increasingly more in like probably obsessed with songwriting compared to snowboarding, but yeah, so I pretty much but there was so I think I stopped snowboarding maybe like 6 years ago, and then there was just probably a good like 4 years of like kind of semi unemployment where I was just broke and like
Right.
my girlfriend was or my wife was supporting me and like just trying to learn how to write songs before it took me like a long time before I only really I think the first album we released it 2 years ago. So
Okay. So there's
yeah.
a lot of time to putting on or working on that first record, it sounds like.
Yeah, it was like a transitional period for me where I didn't really know what I mean, I was just working really hard and hoping I could make something with the band happen, but it was
Okay.
it was weird. And
Yeah, I mean to lose not lose snowboarding, but to kind of stop it, that must have been kind of an identity crisis for you.
for sure, it was weird. It was like I was so used to traveling around with all my buddies and snowboarding and stuff and having at least a little bit of money. I never made a lot of money, but I went to having like no money. So,
Right.
but but it was, you know, it was like, it was kind of like romantic in a way to be like trying to do something else. I don't know. And, but
Mhm.
it was also, it was transitional period that was pretty like weird. And I was in like, I was expatriate too. I pretty much moved to Quebec because like the music scene was good, but also because like it was so cheap. Like the apartments were so cheap. So it was just a lot of my decisions have just been based on like what I could afford in the last five
Monetary
years.
reasons.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what I've been doing out here is just scraping by trying to write songs. But
Wow. Well, so you didn't when did you start releasing songs?
2 years ago, I just released like yeah, that was like the first thing I ever released. Really.
Oh,
Well,
really? Was that first record?
yeah, that first record, that was the first thing that was like I mean, I might have released a couple things on Bandcamp before, like, but that was pretty much the only thing I ever released.
Okay. So you were already living in Canada at this point when you started releasing songs?
Yeah, I'd only already been living there for like maybe let's see, it's 2 years ago, so 3 years or something like that.
Okay. So you stopped snowboarding when you were still in Alaska and then you moved to Canada?
Pretty much. I think I was still like kind of a professional snowboarder for maybe like I was kind of like in between Alaska for a while, like in between Alaska and Quebec. As it would that's my wife's name. She would come up and like stay with me in Alaska, and then we'd kind of half and half. And when you're snowboarding, you're just always on the road, so
Mhm.
you're always traveling.
And like, I mean, same with the musician, right? I mean, that's probably the next, thing is just traveling as a musician instead of a snowboarder. But having that first record out, like, tell me about putting that out and kind of, you have this new identity, and what does that look like once you got the record out?
Yeah, like, well, pretty much we just finished that record. Like, I recorded it. Like, I wanted to. It was a hard recording process. Like, I tried to record it myself a couple times, and I was terrible at recording, so it always sounded terrible. And then, like, my friend came up and tried to record at our house, and he like set up this like whole like analog tape studio in the basement. And it was like total shining situation with like just like 8 feet of snow outside, and we had like these like 400-pound like tape machines, and it was like, and that time didn't really work out great either. And then finally I went to just like a real studio, which was like in Quebec City that
Mhm.
this guy Alex has. It's called the Magnetophone. And then I finally recorded it there, and I was satisfied with it. And we just put it on the internet. We didn't really have any plans or anything. We just hoped that it would kind of like attract some attention. I don't know, somehow. And but it went pretty good. It was like Quebec is such a cool place for like up and coming bands. There's like so like the underground scene is so like alive out here, kind of like there's so many people that are interested in like independent music, I guess. And
Mhm.
so it pretty much just put it out, and then all of a sudden we started getting invited to play shows, and it kept going and kept going, and yeah, but it was weird. It was like all of a sudden, it was like a new identity too, for sure. Like to not be a snowboarder anymore and to be a musician. And I was definitely like
Mhm.
went through like a little bit of an identity crisis too, for sure.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. And so cut off from all my friends and family too, which was weird because I was just felt like I was living. All my friends pretty much live on the West Coast. Like I have
Mhm.
a couple friends at East, but so it was weird too. It was like just total like isolation and living and obviously in Quebec everybody speaks French and stuff. So I had to speak French all the time. And
Oh, did you know French prior to moving there?
no, no, well, I kind of started learning it like maybe when I met my wife, like around like so I've been learning it for a while. Maybe I've probably been kind of speaking French for like 5 years before I moved out there, but still was pretty bad at it. Still, I'm bad at it. So
But you can get by if need be.
yeah, yeah, I can
Okay.
get by.
Wow. Okay. So you put that record out. Were you able to play? You said you got some shows around the area, and then what was kind of the next step? Did you just start writing what's this next record that is coming out?
Yeah, pretty much just like well, like released it January 2020. So as soon as we released it too, like COVID hit and
Oh, the first record was in January 2020.
yeah.
Oh my. Okay. So how did that work?
Well, so it was just pretty much like we still somehow managed to squeak in a couple shows here and there, but it was definitely like at a certain point, obviously everything just like locked down. And that was the point where I just kind of hunkered down and wrote the second record. And that's pretty much how I got that second record done. And like the first record, like there's this our manager, he's our manager now, but his name's Gabo Coinlo, and he was working for like a big like booking or not a booking agency, I can't remember what that's called, a concert promotion agency in
Mhm.
Montreal. And he had a radio show and he was always playing us on the radio and stuff. And when we finished the second record, we recorded it at the same place and we sent him to him. And he sent it around for us to some labels and then Secret City liked it and they gave us a record deal. That was pretty cool. And
Yeah. What was that like?
it was crazy. It was because, first one it was like people liked it, like we get really good responses, but we definitely like weren't by no means like thinking like we were gonna be like I don't know, we didn't really imagine like we'd have a lot of success or anything. Not that we have a lot of success, but it
Yeah,
was
but
cool
to
to
get
get a
on a label, I mean, that's huge.
yeah, that was great. I mean, that's definitely the best thing that's happened to us so far. And they're such a great label. They're like, I don't know, super cool and yeah, it's fun being on there. I like it so much better than not being on there, that's for sure.
Amazing. That is amazing. And so what was it like? Okay, you put the record out, COVID hits, and then how does that affect this next album? Was it just you had a lot more time to work on it or?
My lifestyle was like seriously exactly the same like before COVID and after because like
Okay.
I don't know why like the first record took me forever even though I was doing the same exact things like I pretty much was just like obsessively sitting in my room and writing songs for like ever and it took me a long time to write that first record. It was really slow, but then the second record I wrote it in like 6 or 7 months and I don't know why it was so quick, but I definitely maybe there was even less distractions than usual, I suppose. Like obviously, like everyone that went through all the lockdowns, like there was just nothing to do. It was like,
Hmm.
but yeah, so I just pretty much was. We're also living in a cabin, like out in the woods at that point, so like it's pretty much just like a solid block of isolation and like hanging out and writing songs
Hmm.
for a year straight. So
Wow. Okay. And the record's called the first single you put out is Tarantula.
yeah, the first single, yep, that's it.
Tell me about that song.
Um, so that song, it's like usually like I will usually like my songs have a lot of words, but that one I
Hmm.
think it has like 14 words in it or something. So I don't know. I was like pretty stoked on it because I don't know. I wanted to try to see if I could like I don't know make a song that didn't have to use so many words to get my point across. And but I guess it's about like having negative like thought like kind of like uninvited negative thoughts kind of enter your brain. Like I think it's pretty much like the cabin fever was
Hmm.
getting to me.
Sure.
And you just start like when you got too much time to think, it's just and you don't have any friends, it's like not really super good. So you just Yeah, so it's pretty much just like a little fable about a tarantula whispering bad thoughts in your ear. You know?
Yeah, and the record's called Dungeon Master, and the photo or the album cover, is that the cabin you were staying in?
No, so that so the on the album cover is my little brother like wearing a cape and
Oh,
the polka,
yeah,
but
the and the hat.
yeah, that's my little brother from oh sorry yeah, and that photo's old. That's like 10 years old. And that's actually from my childhood home in Alaska.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Mhm. And Esty,
Okay.
my wife, took that photo. He's always dressing up in outfits and stuff. Like he's always, and so I don't know. We
So
have tons of photos of him in different costumes, and he was like in a Pope phase at that point. I guess.
yeah. I was wondering, and then okay, so that's actually a photo of your brother. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Okay, and well, the record's coming out. It's when it comes out, really like April, right? I believe I
yeah.
read. Okay,
I think
so the end
April
of
29th.
April. Yeah, end of
Yeah.
April. And
Mhm.
would you have any plans for like touring on the album, or are you kind of trying to wait and see what the future holds with all the wildness of this world?
um, well, actually we're leaving on tour in like a week or a little over a week to go. We're gonna like because we're going to South by Southwest.
Oh yeah, I did read that. That's exciting.
I know it's so exciting. I'm really happy about that. Um, so yeah, we're going on this little tour before we get down there though. It's like, gonna be like New York, Pittsburgh, Ohio, Kentucky, and yeah, and then to South by Southwest.
Okay. What was it like getting that call saying you're going to be at South by Southwest? That must have been a big deal.
We were so happy. It's crazy. I mean, it's been, I don't know, it's been so crazy. I never really like, I don't know, never really like that. Just get on that label has changed everything because they like actually do the stuff that you should do to like promote your music, I guess. So
Yeah, they
yeah, they
help
get
you.
opportunities.
Yeah, that's
But it was
cool.
crazy. I was so happy. It's like the whole thing's so exciting, you know.
That's really, really exciting. I love they describe the record as the cutest, heaviest, strangest rock and roll record you'll ever hear. Um, gi- so well, give me a little synopsis of the record because it's coming out, yeah, in a couple months here.
Yeah. Well, I do think we try to be like really cute and heavy at the same time. That's
Okay.
really like our and just by that I mean just kind of like I guess I guess there's like a certain like zone that that art I like is usually in, and it's usually got a little bit of humor and it's got a little bit of darkness to it, I guess.
Hmm.
And it's like when I think when it has those two things, it like becomes infinitely more interesting to me because it's you don't quite know how to feel, you know? It's like, is it
Hmm.
funny or is it like demented and like dark? Because if it's one or the other, I just think it's too, I don't know, unidimensional or something for me. But like when it's both, you're kind of like it can be overwhelming, like it can create like complex emotions, I think. And so I don't know. I think that's where the cute heavy thing comes from. And I think that we try to stay in that zone a lot. And it's but it's really like I don't know, it's like a really like pretty manic album. I don't know why it's so it turned out like I'm really always just trying to write like really catchy pop tunes, and I'm always like, yeah, like I'm gonna write something really catchy, like people are gonna I'm always trying to write some sort of like hit thing, you know. I'm
Hmm.
really always trying to write something good, but this one is pretty unhinged and like manic, I think, compared to even the first one, which is pretty unhinged and manic too.
Sure. Well,
So
that's amazing. I can't wait to hear the record. Obviously, I like Tarantula. I think that's a rad song.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And congratulations on the South by Southwest. It's massive.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I appreciate doing this, Gus. This has been awesome.
Oh, this has been so great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, one more quick question. Do you have any advice for aspiring artists?
Well, I would say for me personally, it took me a long, long time to realize that I think limitations are good. Like, for example, I think I was trying to mess around with like multi-tracking and making songs in all different ways with tons of different instruments and everything. And as soon as um I told myself, I think I was watching like a Neil Young like show, and I just saw him play like Old Man or something, and I was like, man, all he did was like sit there with an acoustic guitar and write that thing in a room, and it's so great. And I told myself, I'm just gonna try to start doing that. And that's as soon as I started doing that, things started working out a lot better for me, and I felt a lot more focused. And so I think like set some limitations when you go to work on writing songs, and I think it will help.